on this side here and just sort of face the wall. Try to think where the best place to begin is, and what I thought might be best is to really explain what Luminism is. Luminism, I think, is a word and a style that's greatly overused today. In its basic form, it just means of light. There are so many painters that actually will tell you that they are luminist, but in reality they are not following the original principles of luminism. Luminism is an outcropping from the Hudson River School of Art. And the Hudson River School was developed in America in the 1820s. It is the first cohesive school of American art that this country had developed. And what the Hudson River style sought to do was the imitation and the copying and the codifying of the landscape, which was in the Hudson River in upstate New York, was sort of a mapping out and a painting of what was available, what they saw at the time. Little did they realize that as they started to paint, what they were really doing is painting the landscape of a very raw and untamed wilderness. One of the things that is the hallmark to the Hudson River style is its reverence towards divine light and pantheism, which is really that God permeates through all nature. That's not to say that the works are meant to be religious, but that they really are grand in their own essence, and they are magnificent in their presence without man's intervention. So that's the beginning of the Hudson River. And what comes out of that is the second generation of Hudson River artists became known as the Luminists. They focus on the light. Where the term luminism actually comes from is, of all things, much later on in the 1950s, when a critic in New York is actually going over the paintings and is writing an essay on them and says, gee, certain paintings have a certain lustrous quality to them over the regular Hudson River School, and he begins to use the term, these are luminists. And that term sticks from that point on. Of course, when they were really painting in 1860 at this point, they were not referring to themselves as luminists. Geometry plays very heavily in luminism, and we'll sort of look at this piece here. This is called Chincoteague Sunrise. And one of the two things that sort of come out to you is the fact that, number one, it's a traditional work, especially when you compare it to other pieces that are on the wall. But more importantly, there's a manipulation of geometry that is in the work. By that I mean, while this is a real scene that I've gone out and sketched, what I'm trying to do is control you as the viewer, what I want you to look at. And so by that, you see that the swamp or the little river that's here is angled this way. We sort of hit a neutral ground that immediately, with its swirling clouds, brings you up. And there's a dark, you see all the trees are sort of formed here, and they're purposely darkened at this point. In real life, you would not see this darkened shade. You would still see a lot more detail in there. But this is actually a European convention, which they would call a coulisse, which is a curtain, and it literally is a blocking of the eye. So what I'm trying to do is to have you focus right in here, which is actually the sunrise. By doing that, up, down, around, down this way. You get it, and the cycle just sort of repeats. If you take this and sort of translate it across the board to the entire wall, you'll see that there's the same type of geometries, and I purposely hung this piece here because this is a very modern work. Here we are, these are both painted within a year and a half of each other. But this is a total abstraction of another landscape scene. I use a lot of literary references in my work. This one in particular comes from John Milton's Paradise Lost. And I interweaved in it some sub-themes from William Blake's The Poison Tree, and also the Book of Mormon and the Bible. And what this scene really has to do with is, it's called the Tree of Knowledge and the Tree of Deceit. And so here you are as the viewer, you're presented with really a paradox when you look at this painting. You say to yourself, well, gee, which is which? And in in Milton's Paradise Lost, what happens, of course it's the proverbial apple tree that we all know, but you don't see any apples in here. And what happens in Paradise Lost really is that the snake sort of comes in, and the serpent sort of, through his own personification, imbues the tree with life. And the tree sort of speaks out to you as the viewer and says, come unto me and partake of the fruit. I am 'tis sweeter than all other fruit. And so you're presented with the fact, you say to yourself, well, what is really the tree of knowledge and what is the tree of deception? This really is the tree of deception here. The tree of deception is very brash, it's very blinding, it has gold in it, it's very, in a testosterone man-filled way, sort of beats its chest and it says, here I am the tree of knowledge. But in reality, the true tree of knowledge is over here because knowledge brings wisdom, wisdom brings truth, and truth is never beautiful. And so what happens is that you are really left with the raw truth of nature. And to keep you from seeing the truth, the painting is specifically organized because you see a swirling motion right here, don't you? Gold is, your eye hits here first, there's the gold because you're looking at the deception. You hit the gold, you go up, there's gold in the center, and you see there's the forest beyond, and by all means, when I'm done talking, I want you to come up and sort of touch this because it's all very tactile. And if you look at what's happening back here, there's a whole forest that's back there. But nobody really cares about the forest. What really is happening is this tree becomes personified and will not let you look at the tree of knowledge. Eventually, you sort of look in that direction and you say, gee, what the hell is this? And so, it's something that's, it's obviously something that has some meaning or else it wouldn't be in there. And then it's only through deduction maybe that you begin to wonder,